Teach it to your children.
That's not going to happen.
Teach it to your dog. All right. Now, the wheels of synchrony. This is an exotic move which I refer to as a grinding motion between the side of your hip and the side of your ribs.
Oh, this is the one that you say it's rounded out and keep it in a circle.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And whereas the effects of reciprocity are mostly in the forward to back direction, and the sensation produced is along your side more, the wheels of synchrony distributes those effects into a more spread out circular shape. It tends to make the after effects of reciprocity much more comfortable, because this is a movement where you might get sore after doing it for a couple of hours. In my experience, it was roughly a couple of hours, and then I suddenly come to later in the day and realize that the discomfort, the soreness was gone. So it's just a matter of going about your daily life. But when you do the wheels of synchrony, it makes the whole change easier.
Got it.
Okay. So, you want to be taken through the wheels of synchrony?
I do. Please.
Will you turn on your side, please?
All right.
Just turn on your side.
What, this side?
That'll do. That doesn't matter at this juncture. It doesn't matter because you've done both sides of reciprocity.
Okay.
Now, reciprocity is a biased move, meaning it is one direction, not two directions equally, so it has the effect of removing twist. If you did both sides the same directions equivalently, you would say remove a twist and then put it back, or increase the twist and then remove it, and you'd end up where you were.
Got it.
Okay, so the top side arm is along your side, and you've already rehearsed the essential movements here in the wheels of synchrony, which is to slide the knee forward and back. And you've already rehearsed the lengthwise movement when you lifted your head. So when you're ready, you lift your head and you cause your top side to tighten. Tongue mudra keeps your head in line. And you reach with the arm at the same time so that your head and your neck and arm help each other to reach toward the side of your waist. And then you slowly relax. You're just rehearsing that shape of the movement now. And you may notice whether or not you tend to keep your shoulder pulled or pinned down while you start lowering your head, or whether they begin the movement together. Whenever you're up for it.
I noticed the shoulder is pinned. What are you talking about? This shoulder?
Yeah.
When you say can you repeat that? I didn't quite get it.
I said you will notice whether when you lower your head, you keep your shoulder pinned down toward your waist, or whether you let your shoulder and your neck start the movement together.
Okay.
Do you get that?
Whether it's this shoulder is pinned down to the waist, or it's what you said?
Okay, you're stuck in the words. So just put your other arm down. Lift your head, reach the arm. Now keep your arm that place while you lower your head. That's pinned down.
Also, should it slide?
They should go together. The shoulder and the neck come free together. Much easier when you experience it instead of trying to translate words into something you never experienced.
Question.
Yes, sir.
There's other exercises like this where, for instance, in side-lying sacral decompression, the head moving and then we reach. When I put the head down in those exercises, is it the same as this?
That's right. You don't keep that shoulder pulled. If you do, you're arresting the movement that starts in your neck and stopping it at the shoulder level instead of letting your whole spine uncurve.
Interesting. Okay, good to know.
And this is a pitfall. And people unconsciously do one thing and hold on to the other. Okay. And you did a forward and back movement of the shoulders in the previous movement. This time you just roll the top. Well, okay, do this. Lift your head and reach with the arm. And now slide the top side knee forward, keeping the arm and neck in relation. Okay. And then you let your head and arm come free, and you reach with the top side hip out of the waist so that that whole hip moves away from your shoulder and neck.
I've been lost.
Well, what did you hear?
I heard reach with the top side hip away from the waist.
Oh, away from the waist. Yeah. Well, which way is the hip toward the waist and which way is away?
You mean like this?
That's not toward or away. That's neither toward nor away. That's toward and away. There you go.
This?
That's exactly it.
Okay.
So take your rest here. So you've rehearsed a forward and back movement of the hip, and now you've rehearsed a toward and away movement of the hip. And if you combine them in sequence, you end up moving in a kind of movement that's like what you've seen on a steam locomotive, where you have this arm that pushes the wheel round and round.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what you're doing here. So you're making not an up and down or forward and back, you're making a round movement with your hip. Forward, away, back, and toward.
Am I moving my knee here?
No,
Or...
keep listening. You stopped listening. Hip
Okay.
forward, hip away from the waist, hip back. Back is toward your back. And now toward your waist. And forward, and away from the waist, backward, and toward the waist. See how that's a roundish movement?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're doing. That's why it's called the wheels of synchrony, because the wheels go round and round. And when you're doing this movement, your head comes up as your hip comes toward the waist. The hip goes forward. As the hip goes away, the head comes down. And hip back. And hip toward the waist as you lift the head, reach the arm, hip forward, and the arm doesn't go with the hip. The arm stays with the neck and head. Hip, and then the waist away, hip away from the waist, head down at the same time. Hip back. And now, as you lift your head and reach the arm, hip toward the waist. Scrunch the side. As your hip goes forward, feel the grinding movement between ribs and waist.
Grinding I feel the grinding movement like here.
No, that's not what you're feeling. Because there's no grinding movement there. You've got more distance on the underside.
Wait, where's the grinding movement at?
The top side waist.
Here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then as your hip goes away from the waist, your head comes down. Hip back. Reach with the arm and head. As you shift the hip forward, feel the grinding at the right side waist. And take a rest. Did you get that grinding sensation at the right side waist that time?
Here?
No, that's not your waist.
Here.
That's right. Yeah, that's the movement.
I feel Okay, I maybe feel the grinding there.
Well, you're feeling something. What is it?
I just feel like muscles engaging.
That's right. You're contracting and then sliding the hip forward.
I sort
Now,
of feel like the grinding and more than just here. Like I feel it like
well,
a lot.
that's true because you're using additional musculature. But look, when you're chewing, how do you grind? You bring the two surfaces together and then slide. And
Right.
that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing at the waist. That's why it's a grinding movement.
I feel it now. It turned on.
All right, there you go. That's what has to happen. It just
Yeah.
has to turn on. You see, perception is acquired by learning.
Like I did it, and then
Yes.
like now I'm feeling sore in that area.
Oh, good, good, good. That's just muscle fatigue.
Okay.
Soreness goes away in 30 to 60 seconds, usually.
Okay.
However, now you know how to do the wheels of synchrony. The only difference is clockwise versus counterclockwise. And you'll hear some cues in the recorded instruction about sensations at your shoulder blade. That will be accessible to you when your attention is free enough from learning this movement actually to do it and feel what you're experiencing.
Okay.
Okay? So that's the wheels of synchrony.
And I just gotta. So you. So I go on the opposite side and I do the same thing essentially.
Yes, that's right. You do both sides, both directions.
Okay. All right. That makes sense to me.
All right.